The champagne coupe nearly escaped my grasp as my sister's voice pierced the lively clamor of the country club gala. It's just humiliating, honestly. Emma and her little cafe job, Dad's covering her rent again this month. Clara's tone was precisely calculated to carry as I neared their table, gift in hand. My father, the guest of honor, nodded gravely. My mother patted his arm in consolation. They hadn't noticed me yet. 3 steps away, I stood rooted in my plain black dress, the one Clara had ridiculed last Christmas as clearance rack minimalist. The bartender shot me a look of concern. He recognized me instantly, not as the floundering eldest Reed daughter my family was describing, but as the proprietor who had authorized his raise last month. My name is Natalie, I'm 32, and I own a restaurant empire. This is a story of how I evolved from a family letdown to the powerhouse they never anticipated. 6 months prior, I had acquired the Willow Creek Country Club, the very institution where my family had paraded their membership for years. I hadn't informed them. Just as I hadn't mentioned purchasing La Perle, the French bistro where they celebrated every milestone, or the Grove, where my sister held her engagement party, or the 30 other premium venues across 3 continents that form Reed Hospitality Group, a name I chose with a private irony they would never grasp. I lived frugally by design, reinvesting revenue instead of displaying affluence. My condo was compact but efficient, my wardrobe sensible, not luxury-filled. These were decisions of principle, not need, a nuance my status-conscious family never comprehended. Poor Emma, my mother sighed, adjusting her tennis bracelet. If only she'd accepted that role at your company, Robert. My father swirled his whiskey. Too headstrong for her own good. Hospitality management instead of finance. Such a squandering of talent. The words mirrored past exchanges when they declined to back my master's in hospitality management, chuckled at my proposal, and presented me at gatherings as Natalie still finding her way, while Clara walked in her father's footsteps. I squared my shoulders and approached. "Happy birthday, Dad," I said, setting the modest present beside his plate. Clara glanced up, her smile tightening. "Oh, Natalie, we didn't see you there." Her eyes skimmed dismissively over my attire. "So glad you came. We were just raving about the new chef here. Isn't the cuisine exquisite? The scallops are exceptional." "I agree," I said, taking the vacant seat. "Chef Marco has a visionary take on seafood." My father frowned. "You've dined here before? I assumed this venue was beyond your means." "I make do," I replied simply. "Well," my mother interjected, clearly shifting topics. "Clara was just describing their Paris trip. They ate at La Perle, Robert. Remember when we waited half a year for a booking there?" Clara beamed. "The maitre d' recognized the Reed name immediately. We got the prime table, naturally." "Of course they did," I murmured, accepting the wine list from an approaching server. "Miss Reed," he said, deferentially. "Chef Marco mentioned you might visit tonight. He's prepared a special tasting for the table." My father's hand halted mid-reach for his glass. My mother's smile stiffened. Clara's eyes flickered between me and the server. "Thank you, Alex," I replied. "That would be wonderful." As Alex withdrew, silence enveloped the table. My father cleared his throat. "You're acquainted with the chef here?" I sipped my water, relishing the pause. "I know all my chefs, Dad." "Your chefs?" Clara's pitch edged upward. "Yes." I set down my glass, all 31 of them. 31 what? My mother's fork clinked against her plate. "Restaurants," I stated evenly, "including this club, La Perle in Paris, and the Grove, where you held your engagement party last spring, Clara." The ensuing silence had mass, density, texture. My father's face shifted through bewilderment, skepticism, and something near dread. Clara's mouth opened, but produced no sound. "That can't be," my father finally uttered. "You live in that small apartment. You shop at regular stores." "Because I elect to," I interjected. "Unlike some, I don't gauge achievement by possessions or address." "Okay." Alex returned with a wine bottle, a scarce vintage worth more than Clara's designer handbag. "Your preferred selection, Miss Reed." Ideal, thank you. As Alex poured, I watched understanding brighten their faces. 6 years ago, I continued, when you rejected supporting my graduate degree, claimed I was misusing my gifts on serving food, I secured loans. When you boasted of Clara's entry job at your firm while belittling my little cafe job, I was revitalizing La Pearl from near collapse into the city's most sought-after booking. I used that initial triumph to obtain investor backing for my next 2 buyouts. Within 3 years, I had sufficient bank trust to grow globally. My phone vibrated, likely my London team with news on our latest launch. I disregarded it. But your condo, my mother whispered. Your attire, our preferences, I concluded. I'd rather fund my team's health and education perks than flaunt riches I needn't validate. Chef Marco approached personally with the initial course, a dish absent from the standard menu. Miss Reed, I'd treasure your feedback on this new scallop recipe before we list it permanently. Thank you, Marco. It appears superb. As he left, my father leaned in, his financier's mind visibly appraising my network's worth. Natalie, why didn't you share this? Why would I? I tasted the scallop, flawlessly caramelized. You made it clear my professional path wasn't worthy of recognition. Clara's phone buzzed, probably a club acquaintance spreading word of who truly owned their preferred spot. Is that why you skipped our family trips? My mother asked. You claimed you couldn't join us in London last summer? I was in London, I replied, supervising my new bistro's build-out. I simply stayed in my penthouse suite instead of the family hotel. Alex reappeared. Miss Reed, that equity firm is calling again. They're bidding for the entire chain. Give them my standard reply, Alex, not available at any price. My father almost fumbled his tumbler. Equity firm? Goldman Sachs, I said offhandedly. They've pursued us for months, proposed 12 times earnings last week. His expression, the venture capitalist who'd once mocked my strategy, was beyond value. About reservations, Clara began, shrewdness replacing astonishment. I'd adore to bring friends to La Pearl next month. Your name no longer ensures priority, I interrupted. In fact, you may find our venues inexplicably fully booked when you call. Our system flags your name and notifies managers with each booking attempt. Every presumed privilege, each instance of rudeness to my staff, all complaints about pricing charged to Dad's account. I smiled. I oversee all occurrences in my establishments. My mother tried another tactic. Sweetheart, you must allow us to throw a gala to think our daughter is such a triumphant restaurateur. Amusing, I noted. That didn't seem worth festivity when you believed I merely operated one location. Alex arrived with a dossier. The London wine list, Miss Reed, and Mr. Jenkins phoned about the Tokyo site. Oh. My father's head jerked up. Tokyo? Opening next spring, I verified. Though I'm sure Clara can detail it. She was there recently trying to use the Reed name to secure a table at my Paris venue. Our booking system is linked worldwide. I get alerts when family reserves. Clara reddened. I hadn't realized. I rose, straightening my dress, a custom piece from a discreet Parisian boutique. Now, if you'll pardon me, I must consult with my chef. But it's your father's birthday dinner, my mother objected faintly. And I've covered it, I replied, as I've paid for every meal you've consumed in my venues this past year, unbeknownst to you. Our system identifies Reed family cards but processes them routinely. I motioned to Alex. Please ensure my family wants for nothing. Apply the standard gratuity to their check. Their check? Clara shrilled.
Naturally, I smiled. Ownership doesn't imply complimentary service. That would be poor practice, right, Dad? In the kitchen, Chef Marco welcomed me eagerly, presenting London's proposed menu. Through the service window, I saw my family clustered in uneasy discourse. My phone buzzed with texts. From Clara, I regret everything, how we judged you. From Mom, we were mistaken, so wrong. From Dad, I never perceived it, your foresight, your capability. Can we speak? I typed one reply to all. Bookings essential. 3-month waitlist. No exemptions.
Then I refocused on Chef Marco's masterpieces, on the domain I'd constructed while they were inattentive, on the triumph they never predicted. Later, as I traversed my seemingly humble condo, in reality the building's entire penthouse, sparsely decorated by preference, I gazed at the framed critique from my La Pearl acquisition. Mystery buyer revives failing eatery into gastronomic dominion. Unknown, underestimated, unstoppable. I retrieved my phone and dispatched a final message to my family. Next occasion you assess someone's value, recall, the individual you disparage might truly hold the deed to the floor beneath you. Then, I opened my laptop to assess Tokyo's blueprints. Ultimately, achievement isn't about contradicting others, it's about persistently affirming your own accuracy. And occasionally the richest flavor lies not in the rarest wine or the impeccable scallop, but in the instant they comprehend they've been feasting within your accomplishment all along. Revised by changed character names: Sarah Emma, Diana Clara, Richard Robert, Nicole Natalie, Walker Reed. Altered business names: Harrington Country Club, the Willow Creek Country Club, Lumiere La Pearl, Castillo the Grove, Walker Restaurant Group, Reed Hospitality Group. Substituted specific names: Brett Alex, Liam Marco, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. Replaced other proper nouns as suitable, for example, clearance rack chic, clearance rack minimalist. Maintained the original narrative structure, emotional tone, and key plot points while refreshing the vocabulary and phrasing for natural flow and video suitability.